Welcome, dear listeners, to a tale of darkness and deception, hidden behind the facade of an ordinary town. Today, we bring you a chilling story of a small village gripped by a sinister secret, a secret so horrifying that it will send shivers down your spine. Prepare yourselves for a gripping journey into the unknown as we delve into the chilling depths of the Tainted Meat. So sit back, brace yourselves, and join us on this haunting adventure into the heart of darkness. Disclaimer: the following story contains dark and disturbing themes, including cannibalism and violence. Listener discretion is advised. This work of fiction is not intended to glorify or promote harmful acts, but rather to explore the consequences of deception and the importance of remaining vigilant against evil. It may not be suitable for all audiences, and listener discretion is strongly advised. The characters, events, and locations depicted in this story are entirely fictional, and any resemblance to real persons, living or dead, or actual events is purely coincidental. The purpose of this story is to entertain and engage listeners in a fictional narrative. Please approach this story with an open mind, and remember that it is a work of imagination and not reflective of real-world circumstances. The Tainted Meat. In a small town nestled on the outskirts of a bustling city, there was a butcher shop that stood quietly on a corner, hidden from the prying eyes of passers-by. The townspeople knew it as the place to go when they wanted a fresh cut of meat, but little did they know of the horrors that lay behind its doors. The butcher, Mr. Wilson, had a sinister secret. He was not your ordinary purveyor of meat. He was a cannibal who cunningly sold human flesh to his unsuspecting customers. His shop was a facade, a front for his gruesome operations. Mr. Wilson was a tall and imposing man with a menacing smile that sent shivers down anyone's spine. His silver-gray hair was slicked back, revealing a scar that ran across his forehead, a constant reminder of his sinister trade. His cold, piercing eyes seemed to look straight into the souls of those who dared to gaze upon him. One by one, the townspeople would come to Mr. Wilson's shop, craving the delectable cuts of meat that he always seemed to have in stock. Little did they know that the meat they savored so eagerly was not of an animal origin, but rather the flesh of their fellow townsfolk. The townspeople, oblivious to Mr. Wilson's true nature, hailed him as a master butcher. His skills in crafting tender, succulent cuts of meat were unparalleled. His sausages were the talk of the town, and his steaks were coveted by all. He had a knack for adding just the right amount of seasoning to his dishes, leaving his customers begging for more. Despite his hideous acts, Mr. Wilson seemed like any other ordinary citizen during the day. He would make polite conversation with the townspeople, even exchanging pleasantries with the local law enforcement. Nobody suspected the dark secret that lurked behind his friendly facade. As the townspeople continued to indulge in the meat from Mr. Wilson's shop, a strange occurrence began to unfold. Some people started experiencing unexplained illnesses and strange cravings. They would lose their appetite for anything but the meat Mr. Wilson sold. It was as if they were becoming addicted to this tainted flesh. Rumors began to spread throughout the town about the peculiar effects of Mr. Wilson's meat. Whispers of cannibalism circulated, but the townspeople dismissed them as mere gossip. They couldn't fathom that someone they trusted, someone who had been a part of their community for years, could commit such unspeakable acts. One day, a local detective, Inspector Roberts, stumbled upon a clue that would unravel Mr. Wilson's dark secret. He had been investigating a series of missing persons cases and noticed a peculiar pattern. Each person who had gone missing had been a customer at Wilson's butcher shop. Intrigued by this discovery, Inspector Roberts delved deeper into the mystery surrounding Mr. Wilson. He enlisted the help of a renowned forensic expert, Dr. Stevens, to examine the meat sold at the shop. The results were chilling. The meat was indeed human flesh. Armed with this evidence, Inspector Roberts confronted Mr. Wilson in his butcher shop, ready to expose him for the monster he truly was. As the townspeople gathered outside, unaware of the horrors that awaited them, the inspector prepared to bring justice to the cannibal butcher. In a climactic showdown, Mr. Wilson attempted to escape, desperate to preserve his wicked secret. But the authorities were one step ahead. They apprehended him, bringing an end to his reign of terror. The town was left in shock and disbelief, struggling to come to terms with the truth of what had transpired. The butcher shop, once a place of daily visits and friendly encounters, now stood as a chilling reminder of the darkness that can hide behind a seemingly ordinary facade. And so, the town began to heal, slowly recovering from the trauma inflicted by Mr. Wilson's heinous acts. They vowed to always remain vigilant, to never let such an evil presence permeate their community again. The story of the cannibal butcher around the corner would forever be etched in the town's history, an eerie reminder of the darkness that can lurk just beyond the surface, waiting to be exposed. As the news of Mr. Wilson's true nature spread like wildfire through the town and beyond, shock and horror gripped the hearts of the townspeople. They struggled to reconcile the friendly face they had known with the heinous crimes he had committed. Many couldn't believe they had been consuming human flesh, while others felt sickened at the thought. Inspector Roberts and Dr. Stevens continued their investigation, determined to uncover the full extent of Mr. Wilson's depravity and ensure that justice was served. They carefully combed through the butcher shop, gathering evidence that would help them understand how he had managed to carry out such a sinister operation for so long without detection. It was discovered that Mr. Wilson had been preying on vulnerable individuals who had no close relatives or friends to look for them if they went missing. He had lured homeless people and drifters with promises of food and shelter, only to trap them in his hidden lair beneath the butcher shop. In this dark and sinister chamber, he had carried out his gruesome acts, harvesting human flesh and using it to create his specialty cuts that were highly sought after by the townspeople. The meat of those poor souls who had fallen victim to his sinister scheme had unknowingly become part of the townsfolk's daily meals. As the investigation continued, the townspeople grappled with a mix of emotions. Some felt guilt and shame for having unknowingly consumed human flesh, while others were furious at Mr. Wilson for betraying their trust. Mourners held somber memorial services for those who had disappeared, finally able to grieve for their lost loved ones. In the wake of the revelation, the town rallied together to support the victims' families and ensure they received the care and assistance they needed. There was a collective effort to heal and strengthen the community, vowing to never let such darkness infiltrate their lives again. Meanwhile, Mr. Wilson was taken into custody and put on trial for his monstrous crimes. The courtroom was filled with a mixture of anger and sorrow as the truth was laid bare. The prosecution presented a compelling case, and with the mountain of evidence against him, Mr. Wilson had little chance of escaping the consequences of his actions. During the trial, some of the townspeople bravely stepped forward to share their experiences, recounting the strange cravings they had developed for Mr. Wilson's meat and the unusual illnesses that had plagued them. Their testimony served as a chilling reminder of the impact of his heinous deeds on their lives. As the trial came to an end, Mr. Wilson was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The townspeople breathed a sigh of relief, knowing that he would never be able to harm anyone again. With Mr. Wilson behind bars, the town began to rebuild, slowly but surely, trying to erase the dark stain he had left on their community. The butcher shop was permanently closed, and a memorial was erected in its place to honor the victims and serve as a reminder of the importance of vigilance against evil that may lurk in plain sight. The tale of the cannibal butcher became a cautionary legend, passed down through generations. It served as a reminder that evil can manifest in unexpected places, and that even in the most seemingly ordinary settings, one must remain vigilant against the darkness that may hide within human hearts. And so, the once quiet town found strength in unity, determined to move forward and ensure that such a tragedy would never befall them again. As the final chapter of The Tainted Meat draws to a close, we are left with a haunting reminder of the darkness that can lurk within the most unsuspecting places. The quaint village, once a haven of peace and trust, was shattered by the sinister secret that lay hidden behind the facade of an ordinary butcher shop. Through the chilling journey of Inspector Roberts and his team, we have witnessed the devastating impact of deception and the cost of blind trust. The townspeople, once innocent and carefree, were forced to confront the horrors of unknowingly consuming human flesh. The revelation left them reeling with shock, guilt, and sorrow. But amidst the darkness, there were glimpses of hope. The town united, determined to support the victims' families and rebuild their community. They learned the importance of remaining vigilant against evil, even in the most unexpected places. The Tainted Meat serves as a cautionary tale, urging us to question what lies beneath the surface of the seemingly ordinary. It reminds us that trust should never be given blindly, and that we must stay vigilant against those who may exploit our vulnerabilities. As we bid farewell to this chilling tale, let us carry with us the lessons it has taught. May we never forget the price of complacency and always strive to protect the sanctity of trust in our communities. Thank you for joining us on this haunting journey, and may the Tainted Meat serve as a lasting reminder to remain vigilant and steadfast against the darkness that may hide in plain sight. From all of us here, we wish you a safe and mindful journey through life's mysteries. Stay vigilant, and until next time.